Hi, good morning, and welcome to the ZP webinar on FoodSense. So we like to do this weekly webinar really as a sort of, to answer questions that have come in during the week. And if we get questions in, we like to sort of try and give a fast response, if I can say, and therefore we hold this webinar. So let me go forward and be a little bit quicker about it. On the 16th of October, we did make a special announcement that, in fact, we have actually launched the Generation 4 FoodSense. I mean, it's really quite, this is a technology now that's been around for, I would say, approximately 5 years. I mean, I'll talk about the history from the University of Oxford and the verification that we did and the validation that the University of Minnesota did. But I mean, we're sort of, as you can appreciate, there's a big, we've been doing this a long time at this point, and, getting to Generation 4, it's been a long time in the making, so we'll sort of discuss that slightly today. It's probably worth saying that
That runs 8 a.m. London time every Wednesday, but also that's recorded so you don't have to watch it live. And we also do monthly webinars and demos. So this is kind of this particular tab, because this one is meant
we have
to
a large
in
demo,
here.
and hopefully
So
I
on to
have
Scoville heat unit.
remembered
It's
to
also on the
include a link
place
to that as well.
the
So
guide. I think
even
you know
though
the way
today
that
I'll
most
mostly
people
be
try to
talking
objectively
and
measure
answering some
this
questions,
and
just
say
know that
that
we do
same
these
Spin Labs
demos
get
of
the
FoodSense once a month as well, and they are technical. We talk about the science, we talk about accuracy and precision, we talk about comparison with HPLC, high pressure liquid chromatography, and we do 2 live demos. And we would have once upon a time just done chili, but now we do chili and ginger with Generation 4 as well. So yeah, I do have a link for it here. I'll try to remember to put that underneath the video. So on the 26th of October 2023, we do have a live demo of this as well. And it will be more, let's say, in depth of this. Is the device accuracy guaranteed? The device accuracy is guaranteed. Now, the question about the word accuracy is that there's a truth out there, and then there's what you measure, and the difference between them is your kind of error. If you're one-on-one, you've got accuracy. The question I have with this, or the problem I have with this question is, what is accuracy? And I'll talk about HPLC because people hold that up as this kind of golden standard of accuracy. Is there information available supporting the reliability of the device? The reliability and accuracy is kind of, is it reliable in terms of its repeatability? I'll talk to you about the fact that when you use the FoodSense, it's reliable because we get to see the raw data. When I say that, you will get a number on your device that says Scoville heat units. Scoville heat units, right? So you're happy with that, Scoville heat units. But actually, we get the raw signal in the cloud, which means we can literally look at a fingerprint for that molecule and say, does it make sense? Because the way, measurement often works is that you have essentially raw signal, and from raw signal then you extract information. Now that extraction in this kind of world is done through calibration. So you have a raw signal, you have a calibration routine, and then you get a number. So if you're a diabetic and you're testing your blood glucose, you get a number, and it may say 90 milligrams per DL or 5 millimolar, depending on where you are. You take your drop of blood, you put it on the sensor, you get a reading. Well, of course, there's a whole progression of things that have happened there. The first thing that's happened is there was a raw signal, then there was a calibration routine in the device, and then you got your number. So we give you have access to the raw data. That's a real benefit, because if you're unsure about the reliability of that result, you can share it with us and we can look at it online, or you can just check it for yourself. So I think, so if you look at the example of HPLC, there's actually a chromatogram, which is sort of one of the closest things to raw signal that they have. You very rarely see it in HPLC, and you don't also see their calibration routine. So your reliability is a sort of leap of faith, or your belief in the reliability of that result is a leap of faith, because you actually have very little access or no access to what's happening underneath the hood of that vehicle, if I can say. Can the app be downloaded to an iPhone? The quick answer is yes. Does the testing have to be done in a sterile lab? The quick answer is no. Do it in a relatively clean space. I mean, it's good to have a clean space because, this is kind of good, good manufacturing, let's say. But you'll see, for example, come to our webinar and demo on the 26th. You'll see that we do it kind of in an office. We do have laboratories, by the way, but we don't need to do it in a laboratory. There's not a choice to lease it to own. The reason being is we're going from generation 3 to generation 4. The product's got better, but the price has come down. I mean, this is often the case. We're running more like a technology business where, the features of the system get better over time, but the price in real terms, in this case, it's not just in price in real terms comes down. The price in absolute terms comes down as well. Just to talk a lineage, this technology. I mean, the University of Oxford patented this technology, and we licensed the technology, and we also developed the product. It's directly measuring capsaicin. So I think in that case it has something linked to HPLC, that they also measure capsaicin. We use a technique, I wouldn't often labour upon this, but I mean it is covered by the patent, and it is pertinent to this conversation here today as well. So we're using a technique called cyclovoltammetry. If you come to the demo, you'll see them running the app, and there's a progress bar. And when it's doing this progress, it's actually run this experiment. So it's not just this vague piece of data that, and we say, oh, yeah, that's capsaicin. It's very distinctive for us as to what capsaicin actually looks like. So we can look at it and say, can we genuinely see this molecule or not? This is not just a random sketch. This is the fingerprint for that molecule, and it's undergoing electrochemical analysis, which is something that several of us in this company are very steeped in. It was here. I say validated. I've got to be careful because you could say verified. Verified, I think, is often means when you do it yourself, and validated means it's validated by a third party. So we did verify this by running HPLC and the AOAC methods. We do own an HPLC system. I mean, at Zimmer and Peacock, we're talking about measuring the hotness of chilies. Most of what we do is actually the development of medical diagnostics. So this is a kind of well within our capabilities, let's say. So we did test it against HPLC. The AOAC method is quite a long method to run of extraction and then analysis, but we did it. But more importantly, then it was validated by a gentleman called Charlie Rower at the University of Minnesota. He did his own independent paper, and he said, no, this is good. The reason being is he was able to test on our product he had quite a complicated workflow, by the way, because he was testing actual chilies. He wasn't trying to test the sauce. He was, blending and mashing up chilies and sort of turning it into a puree, and then sending that to HPLC. But he could only send one sample to HPLC each time, whereas with us he was able to test in triplicate. And the reason being is the difference in cost meant that it was easy for him to do triplicate cost and time. It was easy for him to do triplicate testing, as opposed to when he sent it to HPLC, he's really only able to get one sample done at a time because it's too expensive to do multiple samples. So anyway, there's also a link here, and I'll try to remember to put all these links underneath the video at the end as well. Something about HPLC is something I do cover in the webinars quite a bit. Is you've got to be really careful of this. That if you send the same sample to a lab, you will get a certificate of analysis by HPLC with a Scoville heat unit. It's the same if you send a sample to a lab, you'll get a certificate, and the same if you send a sample to a third lab, you'll get a certificate. None of those certificates will be the same. So that's why I'm going back to my first comment about accuracy. When people say, can you guarantee the accuracy? I've got to ask my question of against what? Because the HPLC labs will all give you slightly different results, or maybe give you quite different results. So none of those labs are precise relative to one another. If they were all precise, then these three green dots would all be overlaying each other, but actually not. If you sent the same sample to the same lab on 3 different occasions with 3 different sample ID numbers, I can guarantee you're going to get 3 certificates back with all different results. So even the intra-lab results will not be precise. And that's why I have a problem with this term accuracy, and a little bit extended from that is also precision, because obviously accuracy says the way we develop this kind of device is we make up known solutions of the material and we test them. So therefore at that point it's quite accurate. But then when you're sort of trying to make an accuracy comparison against a lab, the labs are not comparable to each other, let alone the same sample sent to the same lab on 3 different occasions will give you 3 different results. So it's really hard to actually get this definition of accuracy. This is some customer results. So this is a customer that we didn't ask them to do this. They asked us to comment upon it. They tested 15 samples by HPLC, 15 samples by the FoodSense. The error on this occasion was actually, minus 5%, 4%, minus 3%. Now that, when they say error, which one's correct? The FoodSense or the HPLC? I obviously think that the FoodSense. The HPLC guy would argue the HPLC. As it is, we're extremely aligned with them anyway. This is easy when you're dealing with real samples like this. These kind of, the average of all these differences, if I can call it that, was 0%. So I was quite happy with that. Just lastly, I know I put this up earlier on, but this was a webinar that we did give on Monday with one of our vendors. So I would say, look, there's another one on Thursday, the 26th of October. I did link to it earlier on. Hopefully I'll put the link underneath the video, and I would ask you to come to that. So with that, I want to say thank you. But you can see what we're doing is that if somebody becomes a actual user of this, we will give them personalized training. We have weekly webinars like this where we answer questions, and we can get in quite deep technically on these things. And we also have monthly demos anyway, so people can always get updated training. So I'd say with that, if you have any questions of ZP or FoodSense, I should say, FoodSense Technologies, then I'll put the link underneath the video. Don't hesitate to reach out to us. Okay, thanks very much.